So I've heard that a lot of people have been referencing Halo, the original Halo, and doing LAN parties and networking all of their original Xboxes and doing 16-player Halo matches. I do have good memories of that in college, but I think probably the one that stands out to me was Oblivion on the 360. I've played the Elder Scrolls games on PCs for a long time, but when Oblivion came to the 360, I was in college and I was living with a house full of guys, and we would all gather around to watch one person play Oblivion, and then when that guy was done, one of us would jump on and load our characters and then play the same game. It was great because even though it was Oblivion, the core game is still the same, of course, all of us had a completely different experience playing that game, and the fact that it was on the 360 in the living room turned it into kind of an event rather than it being relegated to just your PC monitor in your bedroom. So Oblivion was an incredible experience on the 360, and I'll always remember back to one of my friends making pantalones de malo as an item, and they were the bad pants, and it was really funny just to see what everyone else did because I never did that before.
So I bought my Xbox 360 kind of a strange time. I thought about buying it when Mass Effect came out, but I was already working at GameTrailers, so I decided to just wait a little while longer. I actually bought my Xbox 360 when Coldcept Saga came out, which is a pretty obscure and weird game to end up on 360, a Western system. It's a Japanese design, kind of, people always describe it as Monopoly meets Magic the Gathering. So it just, it was a unique experience to me, like with this recently launched Western console playing the most weird, obscure Japanese game on it possible. And that's, I wouldn't say that's the only reason I bought my system, but that's a big reason I bought the system. I'm just a big fan of that game.
For my Xbox memory, I think one of the craziest E3s actually happened to deal with Microsoft itself. It was during the time that they were actually announcing Kinect. Actually, this was something like they haven't even come out with a name yet. And so they had this huge, very secretive event in downtown LA right before E3 happened, and they actually gave people wristbands. And so you would have certain color wristbands. And I actually went there with a couple of friends of mine, but they all had different color wristbands than I had. So we were all separated out during this event for the Kinect. We were led into different sort of areas. We were given these weird ponchos with giant sort of shoulder pads that later on lit up and actually had indicators to figure out where we were geographically. But as we went through, I actually had to go by myself because I wasn't there with a group. And they walk you through this dark hallway into this lit room, and you're actually walking out of a TV as you're going through, and there was a family sitting there, but they were all Japanese, and I didn't know any Japanese, and so they were just talking to me. I was like, oh, thank you. Later on, we were on the floor, and everyone else got to sit up into these stands. And what you have to know is that when you go to E3, you go to E3 with like people from all over the world. And so there were people from, China, people from Europe, people from Africa, everyone there who had just gotten there that day. So they were jet lagged as hell in this 3-hour event that they had to stand through. There were people passing out as Cirque du Soleil tried their best to sort of describe with body of motions and a giant cube that turned upside down what the hell the Kinect was. I think if whoever put that together and Microsoft is watching this, don't ever do that again.
One of the things I liked the most about like Xbox 360, I wasn't into Xbox at all. This was back when I was still like a kid, so I had biases and I hated Xbox. I thought Microsoft was evil and I couldn't wait for them to like fail. Like Panasonic and Philips with CDI and 3DO and stuff like that. I thought Microsoft was dumb for making a console because they already did PC stuff. Why did they need a console? And Sony and Nintendo were the kings. So, but no, the one cool thing they did for Xbox 360 at the beginning was they seemed like they actually cared about going after the Japanese market and JRPGs in particular. and they had Lost Odyssey. They got Mistwalker to team up with them, basically, or to release their game exclusively on Xbox 360. And Lost Odyssey was pretty good. And then they got Tales of Vesperia, and that actually caused the system to temporarily sell out in Japan. So that had me a little bit excited. That's actually why I got an Xbox 360, because I thought, oh crap, all these JRPGs are going to be on Microsoft system all of a sudden.
My favorite Xbox memory was when Red Dead Redemption first came out. I remember being so excited to finally play it after seeing all those trailers, all those cool featurettes. And then after finally popping it in and seeing the opening montage roll in, my Xbox died. Oh wait, I guess that wasn't so good after all, huh? Well, I have another memory. How about the time when Kudo Tsunoda rolled up on stage for the first time at E3 showing off the Kinect? That was pretty cool. I believe it started off with those fateful words. Have you ever seen what the bottom of an avatar's foot looks like? Wha-bam! Now you do. So, probably not the shining hour for that piece of hardware, but at the very least, it set a pretty lighthearted tone for what we would all know about the Kinect.
Bam! There it is.
When the Xbox 360 came out, I remember my friend Dan surprised us. We were just hanging out, and we were like talking about how hard it is to find an Xbox 360. And then Dan comes over, and he's got like a grocery bag or something. And he's just like, oh, hold on a second, guys, let me bring my Xbox out. And then he pulls a 360 out of his grocery bag, and then he's just kind of like gloating about it. He's just like, yeah, I got this. And we played like a lot of like Ghost Recon with split screen. What was fun about that Xbox 360 when it first came out was it was the first HD console. So we hooked it up to my dad's HD TV and played Perfect Dark Zero, which was not a good game by any means. But I remember that all of us were just in awe at how shiny the walls were. There's just a real shiny texture to everything on this Xbox 360, and it was just kind of fun to admire graphics at the time.